This Late Night Linux Family podcast is made possible by our patrons. Go to latenightlinux.com/support for details of how you can join them. Support us on Patreon for access to ad-free episodes and early releases. That's latenightlinux.com/support. Hello and welcome to episode 364 of Late Night Linux, recorded on the 15th of December 2025. I'm Joe, and with me are Phelim.
I have a very bad cold.
Graham.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
And Will.
Hello.
You have an even worse cold.
I can't taste camembert. Very specific COVID.
Well, we're all going to soldier on. Before we get into some news then, Graham, you want to talk about FOSDEM.
So I'm actually going to FOSDEM for the first time ever.
Ooh.
I can't believe I've got this far through my life being so into Linux and open source and never having gone, but I'm going. It's happening on Saturday the 31st of January and Sunday the 1st of February in Brussels. But the thing I wanted to mention is that a few of us at Canonical have got together to rent a room on the Monday after that weekend to host a kind of, well, some documentation people will be there and some design people will be there. And we want to help any contributors or projects or anybody really who has an interest in design or documentation and would like some help or advice, or for us to work with them to help improve that aspect of what they're doing. It's free for anyone. I haven't sorted out the details exactly yet. We've got the room booked, but I'm going to put it on a blog post on Canonical, and if Joe's okay with this, I'll put a note to it in the Late Night Linux channel on Telegram. But that's the plan.
You know they have very nice beers there. I'm just saying. You might want to stretch out that week a little bit.
Right, let's do a bit of news then. We've got a few bits about the Steam machine. Firstly, the Steam machine won't support HDMI 2.1, and it turns out it's because the HDMI standards people are a shower of bastards.
DisplayPort everywhere.
Yeah, maybe this is why the Steam machine also has a DisplayPort. Why am I so naive to think that people, they guarantee standards for quality reasons and not to gatekeep and ask for money?
What? The audio and TV industry being absolutely arseholes, really?
I know.
And it makes it very difficult with open source drivers, doesn't it? It's the bottom line, and why it's only shipping with 2.0, which means 4K at 60 frames a second maximum, which honestly for a machine like this, which is fairly modestly spec'd, I don't think realistically you're going to be pushing more than 60 frames a second at 4K, are you?
My concern is that the stats whores will pick on that one particular problem and say, oh, well, it's no good because it only does 60 frames a second at 4K. And that will feed back into the negative reviews for the machine itself, which is completely unfair. But yeah, I think realistically, Joe, you're exactly right. It doesn't really make much difference to anybody.
Especially when our eyeballs can only see about 30 anyway. But yes, I know we've all had arguments about this before, but still. But I think they should actually use this as an excuse to boot the HMI group while they're there and just take the piss out of them. Make a few ads and then popularize DisplayPort more. Imagine a telly came with DisplayPort. You can get a dongle that converts to HMI if you're really pushed. But, fuck that technology anyway.
Yeah, and you can buy cables that are DisplayPort to HDMI.
No, dongles is where it's at, Joe.
Okay. Well, the problem is that TVs just don't support DisplayPort, do they?
Yeah, but they could, is what I'm saying.
I know they should, but that doesn't change reality.
But it might.
Yeah, it's going to change the millions of TVs sitting in people's living rooms already, yeah.
If we think hard enough.
Okay.
And this will become more of a problem because, the next generation of the Steam machines will need to have faster than 60 frames at 4K. And this, I think, this is something even NVIDIA tried to do, even though it works with their proprietary drivers. The open source component, they worked for a while to try and get HDMI 2.1 support, but gave up. And that's NVIDIA.
You know the fallacy where Steve Jobs likes to pretend that he got encrypted audio files rid of back when they said, oh no, we're just going to offer the unrestricted audio files. We sort of need a champion like that to get rid of this nonsense, because it's nonsense. Like, it's all about copy protection of movies and all that, and it's just a bit of a joke, really.
Yeah. Well, I mean, reading the news this week about LG TVs now having Copilot forced on them, I think we're all just going to have to go back to having normal monitors for stuff like this and just use DisplayPort and screw the people who can't do it.
Alien is starting to make an awful lot more sense. That's why they have those old CRTs back then. In the future. Sorry, not back then.
Yes, you're right.
Well, as long as you don't connect your TV to the internet or the network generally, it's fine. You can just use it as a dumb monitor, generally speaking.
Yeah, but it isn't. It's got all that shite on it that you don't need, like, well, apps for a start. My TV is a Tizen TV, so technically it's a Linux TV, but I'm not connecting that thing anywhere.
Yeah, same with mine. I just use 2 different HDMI ports, just press one button to change them. It's fine. Anyway, we've also got a link to a piece on The Verge. Steam Machine today, Steam Phones tomorrow. And this is an interview with Pierre-Loup Griffet. And it's very interesting to read about FEX, which is their emulator thing that makes X86 work on ARM, which they're going to be using for the Steam Frame, the headset, which is ARM-based. So you've got Windows x86 binaries working through Proton on Linux and then through FEX on ARM, which is quite a tall order, but it seems like they're confident that they can pull it off. And then the speculation is, well, if they're making these games work on ARM, then it's not a huge step to make them work on Android phones. And it could potentially open up a lot of games to a lot more devices, which has got to be good news for Valve in terms of selling games and making a few quid.
I still think this is more about the headset being low power for it being disconnected because their old headset was connected with a cable, now it is no longer. So I'm not so sure, but maybe.
No, I don't think that was their intention. I think it's a sort of happy byproduct.
Maybe. I honestly, I cannot stand touchscreens. I don't know how anybody would put themselves through playing any game other than tiddly fucking winks on a phone. Jesus Christ.
The Steam Deck is x86 based, right? So if the Steam Deck 2 or 3 or whatever is in development, that would surely be ARM based. So this will be a direct competitor for a Switch 2 or Switch 3 or whatever it is when it comes out. The phone form factor is interesting, but I think it's more likely to be the next gen Steam Deck.
Yeah.
I also think it's a hedging strategy, so that they have all their options open. Even when they started investing in Linux all those years ago, it's more to do with having that kind of gaining the kind of knowledge and understanding about these other platforms so they can move and they remain kind of fluid across different platforms in case they need to.
Well, yeah, and they have ended up gravitating towards Linux as an open platform, just as a pragmatic choice, not out of any sense of like free software movement and all that, just because it's an open platform that they can build what they want on.
Yeah.
Why in God's name do they call it FEX? I mean, does nobody know that FEC is like the nice way of saying the F word in Ireland and a derivative of the wine project? I mean, come on.
Well, The Verge are all over this Valve hardware stuff because another article from them, remember Google Stadia? Steam finally made its gamepad worth rescuing. And that made me think, Will, you've got one, and Graham, have you got one as well, one of these Stadia gamepads?
Yeah, I actually bought another one for cheap on eBay because I liked it so much.
Right. Because originally they used Wi-Fi, but then when they shut down the Stadia project, they refunded everyone and then put up a page where you can use the Chrome browser to flash it with some firmware that makes the Bluetooth work on it.
Yeah, that's right.
Bluetooth work, eh? I don't believe that for a fucking second, because 2 of my 3 headsets didn't work tonight because they are both Bluetooth. Fair enough.
I get really good results out of this, and I've been using it with Steam for some time. There's also on Windows, there's a project to let the Stadia controllers emulate a 360 controller. But the thing that I really like about them that I found is the Bluetooth range is really excellent. I'm a long way from my PC because I use a long cable to my living room TV, and I use them for playing in the living room, and they're a whole floor away and a few meters away from the PC. More so than the 360 controller, which I also have with its own dongle.
It's not a bad looking controller, in all fairness.
Especially if you got it for free.
One of my kids uses it as their preferred controller, and they've had Xbox controllers, PS5 controllers, and this is standing the test of time. It's really quite robust. It's lasted really well. It still looks clean and none of the buttons are janky. It's working really well, but they do prefer to use it over USB. I think that's partly so they don't have to remember to charge it up. But maybe this is worth revisiting and trying it on Bluetooth again. They state lag is a problem. I don't think it is. I think they've seen a video on that on the internet and they believe it. But yeah, it's a great controller, especially when it costs nothing.
They're hardcore gamers, though. They deal in nanoseconds, like the likes that you and I couldn't even blink in.
Okay, this episode is sponsored by Tailscale. Go to tailscale.com/LNL. Tailscale is an easy-to-deploy, zero-config VPN that allows you to build simple networks across complex infrastructure. Sign up, install Tailscale on the devices you want to connect, and you can get going in a few minutes. Whether you want to connect back to your home LAN while traveling, send backups to a friend's house, or securely access your Kubernetes cluster, Tailscale combines the power of WireGuard with simple installation and configuration for a seamless experience. Tailscale's personal plan is free forever. You'll get up to 100 devices and 3 users at no cost with no credit card required. So support the show and try Tailscale for free today at tailscale.com/LNL. If you'd like to bring Tailscale to work, use code LATENIGHTLINUX for 3 free months of any paid plan. Thousands of companies have already made the switch. That's code LATENIGHTLINUX. We really need a segment like AI Watch or something like that because we've got a few AI-related things. The first one is from Fedora magazine. Talk to your Fedora system with the Linux MCP server.
Great.
So MCP is Model Context Protocol, and it's a way for LLMs to talk to external stuff, essentially. And so there's this Linux MCP server, and the reason that I wanted to talk about this, and a shout out to Jason Evangelo who pointed this out on Mastodon, they give some examples of using this with Fedora, right? And so they ask it, why are you so slow today, Fedora? And then it says, oh, well, you got this problem and that problem, driver mismatch, blah, blah, blah. And then the instructions it gives are quick fix path, try in this order. Sudo apt update and sudo apt upgrade Linux firmware. Okay. Sudo apt upgrade Linux image, blah, blah, blah. That's going to work really well on Fedora, isn't it?
Oh, that is peak LLM. That is. Oh, you couldn't imagine. I'm doing double chef's kiss right now. The best thing ever. And you tell you why your fucking PC's slow, because it's busy running fucking LLM bollocks in the background. That's fucking why. Fucking shite. Honestly, who wants to talk to their PC? They should just get the fuck in the sea right now. Just get in there, fucking go off, swim, fuck off.
Hang on, didn't Will talk not that long ago about wanting to talk to his PC?
It sounds like the sort of thing I would say.
Oh, fuck it. The only way I'm talking to my PC is if I'm following in with a boot right into the front of the panel because it didn't do fucking something.
I think this could be quite useful.
No, it won't. No. Boo.
Not because I want to talk to my PC, but because what I would like is something to look at the logs for me and monitor them. Like, they're there. The log files are there. I never look at them until it's too late. And there's bound to be interesting things that are going on there that would save me time and solve problems for me if only I could be bothered to look at them. And having an LLM just constantly watching the log files for interesting things that I don't have to specify and I don't have to enumerate every single interesting thing, it can work it out for me and then send me some sort of notification that there's something going wrong. I think that would be very useful.
Yeah, but I don't think it needs this, though.
No, but I think what you do need is a standardized way to get on there and access these things. So I think the concept of a system MCP server is a good one. I think that they are scrabbling around for use cases, but I think there's plenty out there. I really do. I think this could be the future of sysadmins. And like SUSE announced their equivalent of this not so long ago. And I think, well, did anybody want this? And then I start thinking about sysadmin spotting something in a log file that would need a human being to otherwise flag up and say that this is a problem. And being able to automate that across your entire fleet of servers, I think is quite interesting.
Let him have it, fail him, go on.
It's just,
He's actually died. That's what's happened.
I have died. You've killed me. Because do you know why? I starved to death because you took my paycheck, but it didn't actually work properly. So now you went out of business and I was already dead from starvation because of it. We've all died, Will. You've killed us all.
Only the lazy people like you. What you need to do is be installing this on all of your servers, taking on more and more customers and doing all of the work by robots doing all of the work, and you're just sitting back looking out the window collecting the money.
Yes, but I have actual scruples and, I'm not a giant bastard, and therefore I wouldn't be conning them out of their money like this is. As installing Ubuntu kernels onto their RHEL 7 box. Why is it not working? Fuck you.
All right. Calibre. Is it Calibre, the ebook organizing software?
I thought it was Calibre.
Calibre. Okay. Well, anyway, they've added an AI discussion feature, and it's gone down like a bowl of warm sick. Or is it cold sick? I don't know. Anyway, people don't like it. So inevitably there are forks already. One of them is quite funny. It's called Calibre, which is basically Calibre without the AI in it. Haha, I see what they did there.
I actually thought it was really good.
It is quite funny, yes. But we'll link to an LWN piece that you've got a gift link for, Farium, so thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
And the bottom line is that these AI features are very much opt-in. I mean, they're in the menu, and they're there annoying people, but you have to jump through a few hoops to set it up. It's not all baked in or anything. You have to connect it to an LLM, either a cloud one or a local one. And if you do nothing, you're not going to be running this code. So it's not the end of the world, but then it's also really fucking misjudged by the developer of Calibre to add LLM stuff and AI stuff, given that authors of books are one of the first group of people who were hit by this shit, the unethical training. It just feels very tone deaf.
It feels like technically this would be cool. Let's do the technical thing without thinking about the ethical thing. And I think there's a massive ethical elephant in the room with it.
Absolutely there is, yeah. But Joe Brockmeyer, who wrote this piece for LWN, I think really sums it up in the last paragraph. The strong reaction against Calibre's discuss feature may seem more emotional than logical. It is also understandable. Books are a human endeavor, even those that are in electronic format. AI models have often been trained by plundering a corpus of books without respect for the author's wishes or copyright. Suggesting that the readers now turn to the technologies that seek to replace humans to supplement their reading experience is, for some at least, deeply offensive. It is a little puzzling that the developer of Calibre, who has catered to a large audience of book lovers for nearly 20 years, seems not to understand that. I mean, that is just completely spot on, isn't it? I mean, yeah, people are overreacting a little bit, but also read the fucking room, man. You know what I mean?
Are they, though? I mean, do we really think you could have a discussion with a LLM about a book when routinely they don't discuss the right thing or get it all wrong and then go, oh, I'm sorry. I thought I just made that all up.
I'm a bit conflicted about this because I don't agree with the feature. I think it's a poor idea. But also, the developer has been working for a long time on this software and is free to kind of experiment and try features and even make mistakes, especially make mistakes, without everybody piling in on them in quite this extent. You know, there's no acknowledgement really of all the work that's gone in. I mean, the UI is horrendous. Why you couldn't have focused on that for a little bit, I don't know. But
get your boot in now, Graham. I like it.
Okay. But I do feel like it's a little bit ungracious, and give them a chance to respond to all this negative feedback before talking about forks.
Well, people tried doing pull requests to get rid of it, and he ignored that. And then people put in requests to hide the features, which he has actually merged. So, you know, you can hide it. But I think his attitude is a bit sort of, I don't know, odd, really.
Do you think there's more to it then than simply, do you think this is the beginning of something that he wants to capitalize on in some way, or the project wants to capitalize on?
I don't know about capitalize. To me, it reads like someone who is enthusiastic about AI and LLMs and sees value in them and wants to add that value to an existing project, a very well-established project.
You know, there's the Douglas Adams quote from Dirk Gently is being quoted more and more often now about the video recorders being invented so that they could watch the TV programs we can't be bothered to watch. And this is really an example of LLMs reading the books we can't be bothered to read.
All right, well, I'm bored of this now, but we should briefly mention this post on the GNOME blog, AI and GNOME Shell extensions. And the long and the short of it is that they are not going to allow extensions that have been written purely by AI. So well done, GNOME. This makes Phelim's brain break, because on the one hand, he's like, excellent. And then the other, GNOME, but no, that's terrible. But this is good.
I think it's good. Everything is fine.
There you go. There we go. A quick programming note before we get out of here. This year, I've decided to have some time off for Christmas. First time since 2017, I think, which is nearly 10 years. Wow. Time flies. Anyway, this show is unaffected. We will carry on as normal, but all of the other shows in the Late Night Linux family, instead of not having an episode, we're going to have a short episode. So there will still be an episode in the feeds at the usual time and days, but it's going to be shorter for all the other shows except for this, for one episode. Hopefully that's fine by everyone.
I think you've earned a half day after 10 years, I suppose.
Well, hopefully. The first one is going to be Linux After Dark later this week. And then like throughout Christmas week, basically one episode of everything apart from Late Night Linux is going to have the short episode. So keep an eye out and an ear out for that. Right, well, we better get out of here then. We'll be back next week when who knows what it'll be. But until then, I've been Joe.
I've been Phelim.
I've been Graham.
And I've been Will.
See you later.